This is how I made my first million streams on Spotify. Hey, it's John here. I run one of the largest music promotion platforms in the world called Hyped. I'm an independent music artist. I've grown my music to over 10 million streams. But what's more important is that I've had the opportunity to help and coach over 10,000 music artists to grow their music to over 100 million streams together. Now, I know these big numbers can be impressive, but they can also be intimidating. And so in this video, I want to share how I made my first million streams on Spotify. And it really comes down to 3 keys to success. And here's where it all started. When I first put my music on Spotify, I had no audience. Literally nobody cared about my music on Spotify. I waited for some songs to catch on and maybe Spotify get some traffic over to my music, but literally nothing happened. And so I looked around. What are other music artists doing to grow on Spotify? I talked to some who promoted their music with social media. But while some of them did in fact get some fans and listeners over to Spotify, for the majority of them, it seemed like something they were dumping tons of time and effort into without seeing much of any results. That didn't really appeal to me because I have a busy life, I have a family, I have so very little time to spend with music promotion that I didn't want to take a gamble on my time, jump in on social media, and then possibly come up empty-handed. I was looking for a solution that would get me near guaranteed results on the time and effort or money that I would invest. And so there was this other group, and they seemed to have figured it out because they were running playlist promotion. They're paid to get their tracks on playlists, and they did get lots of listeners and fans from those playlists. But when I took a closer look, I saw something that I really didn't like about it, and that is that most of these artists, they complained that once their playlist promotion ended, all their audience, their listeners, their streams, everything dropped right back to zero. It wasn't sticky. It seemed like most of these listeners and fans just went away when the promo ended. And this isn't what I wanted either. I wanted a real fan base of listeners that come back to our music over and over again. Now, at the time, I'd already been experimenting with Facebook and Instagram ads, and I figured maybe that is the key to success for me. I liked it because once a campaign was launched, I hardly had to spend any time with it. It would just run automatically. I didn't have to ask anybody for permission. There were no gatekeepers. I could just launch an ad and would go live within hours. And it seemed like if I can nail this, this is going to be guaranteed promotion. I can just launch a campaign and I'm guaranteed listeners and fans over into Spotify, and they're going to be real. And so here's what turned my initial experiments with music ads on Facebook and Instagram into my first million streams on Spotify. The first important key to this success was that I heavily invested into finding the best match between my music and an audience that I could target on Instagram and Facebook. This is incredibly important and can make or break an entire promo campaign. I learned this the hard way. I launched campaigns and I targeted sound-alike music artists that I thought were sound-alike artists to me, but my music just didn't resonate with their audience. What eventually helped me crack the nut is that I did have a little bit of an audience on SoundCloud at the time, so I sent my audience a message and said, hey guys, if you listen to my new track here, who do you think it sounds alike? And I was blown away by the responses because there were so many sound-alike artists that I had never considered. But once I started targeting those sound-alike artists, my results just shot up. And I'm being reminded of this these days because I'm currently promoting a track for another artist called Corey Binks. The track's called Crazy. Some of you may have seen me take on this challenge in this video here. And this has been a massive challenge, and here's why. On its surface, Crazy is a hip-hop song. So I tried targeting various mainstream hip-hop artists, and obviously hip-hop as a music genre, and it just didn't catch on. I tried one campaign with this set of sound-alike artists. I tried another campaign with that set of sound-alike artists. I literally went through 3, 4, 5 campaigns, all targeting various groups of hip-hop artists, and it just didn't work. And that's why you can see here on Spotify for Artists, for the first couple weeks, Crazy didn't really get any bump in streams or listeners. That's up until about 2 weeks ago when streams for Crazy suddenly took off. And you can see this here on Spotify for Artists, where it went from just a handful of streams in the beginning to now hundreds of streams a day. And you know what made the difference? The music audience match. I must have listened to Crazy 100 times now, trying to crack the nut, trying to figure out what is the right audience, what am I missing? And it was this one moment when I realized, hey, there is some really strong country music influences in this hip hop track. And so I dug a little deeper and I figured out that I'm able to target an audience of country rap fans with this song. I was able to target country rap as a genre. I also researched some other country rap artists and used those as sound-alike artists. And with that audience, all of a sudden, Crazy is taking off. This is what happened with my music back in the day. This is what's happening with Crazy now. And so that's why the first ingredient to success is really investing the time and the effort into finding that perfect match between the song and the audience. And what's making this easier today than it was back in the days is that today I'm using Hypedit's ad automation to launch these campaigns literally in minutes. So I can run a lot of tests at the same time without having to manually create all of these campaigns in Facebook. But whether you want to use a tool like Hypedit or you prefer running campaigns manually, finding that perfect audience match is going to have the same explosive effect. And this brings me to the second secret to success of me hitting my first million streams on Spotify, which is keeping my campaigns running. A lot of artists around me had this mindset of, hey, I have a new song out, I'm gonna invest in promotion for 3-4 weeks, whatever, and then I'm gonna stop until my next song comes out, and then I'm gonna repeat the cycle. But what I noticed is that when I started promoting my songs and I had the audience take off, so did the popularity score on Spotify, and together with the popularity score came the streams from the algorithmic playlists. And the higher the popularity score got, the more support I was getting from the algorithmic playlists such as Discover Weekly or Spotify Radio. And so I decided not to shut down my campaigns, but just keep them running. And instead of promoting every song, I focused on the songs that really work the best. And I figured, all right, let's invest in those long term, which means I absolutely have some new releases that are not getting much promo love from me because I'm putting the budget into my best performing songs, my quote unquote biggest hits. And so what's awesome is that even with this song Crazy by Cory Binks, you see the same. Here's a screenshot of the popularity score of the song. And you can see how it started out at 4 and it rose and rose and rose as these campaigns started to develop. And now it hit 23. And I anticipate it will go even higher. And already I can see more algorithmic streams coming in. So my prediction is if we keep that song running with the audience match that we have right now, which is really the first and the second key to success that I just talked about, then Cory's going to be able to get his first million streams on Spotify as well. Because at the end of the day, and this is the third secret to success here, all you do is let the algorithm carry you all the way. If I look at the analytics of my songs in Spotify for Artists, it's the same picture over and over again. I typically get 80% of all streams on Spotify for free, which is a combination of algorithmic streams, that's mostly Spotify Radio and Discover Weekly with some release radar, and then repeat listeners. Listeners who have saved my songs, maybe to their liked songs folder in their library, or to some other playlist that they have, and then I come back and then check out my songs over and over again. So really, I'm only promoting my music to a small fraction of new and fresh audience that I'm getting, but because I have this audience match and I keep my campaigns running, I'm being rewarded with the majority of streams really coming for free. And so if you're wondering, John, how can I hit the first million streams on Spotify? Then let me leave you with this. If you launch your first campaign and your song didn't take off like a rocket, don't worry. You may not have hit the perfect match between your song and the audience that you're targeting. So try again, try a second time, a third time, a fourth time. Post in the Hypedit Facebook group, maybe post the song, ask others, hey, who do you think I sounded like? Get some inspiration from other musicians and artists. And then keep trying until you hit that one perfect match where you're launching another campaign for the same song, but all of a sudden you're getting a much bigger result for it. This is when you know you hit the jackpot. And this is when you stay focused on this campaign and just let it run. Monitor the popularity score. You can do this for free on a site like Music Stacks. And then when the popularity score gets to somewhere between 20 and 30, this is when you see the Spotify algorithmic streams really pick up nicely. And when you're there and you can, just keep that campaign running. This isn't a sprint, this is a marathon. And the longer you stick with it, the bigger the reward. And because of this, hitting the first million streams isn't all that difficult. You just gotta go for it. Give yourself permission to experiment in the beginning, finding that right audience. And then when you have, go all in. All right, so I can't wait for you to hit your first million. Many artists in our community have. I know it's possible. I've seen it over and over again. It's not luck, it's skills. And so I know you can do it. And with this said, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, don't forget to hit the like, the subscribe, and the bell icon below so you can get more videos like this on YouTube about how to get more listeners, streams, and fans on Spotify. And if you want to discover click by click how I'm setting up my campaigns, the ones that taken my music from 0 to 1 million and now millions of streams on Spotify, then check out this next clip right here. Want to get your music heard on Spotify with AI? I just launched a brand new video training program called the Spotify Growth Switch, where I show you how to start growing real listeners, real fans, and real streams on Spotify in less than 10 minutes using software and AI. I've used the Spotify Growth Switch system to now grow my music to over 7 million streams and tens of thousands of monthly listeners on Spotify. This works for any music genre. It gets you real fans and listeners super fast, and it's extremely easy to set up, literally just like flipping a spotlight switch for your music. Despite using AI, you don't need to know nothing about tech stuff in order to be successful with this. I've had the tremendous privilege of helping multiple tens of thousands of music artists grow their music on Spotify, many of which have grown to much larger numbers, lots more listeners, lots more streams than I have using the systems that I've taught. Makes me so proud of their success. And so if you want to get more real listeners, real fans, and real streams for your music fast using state-of-the-art software and AI, then click the link below this video and check out the Spotify Growth Switch. I can't wait to help you grow your music on Spotify, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside.